Live. I think can you believe this? Hey, hello, everybody. We are now live. That's what happens when you don't have a engineer. Oh my God, we just go live. We didn't even know that whatsoever. We did know that. Hey, we're going to show our intro. So those who want to know what this is all about, we'll be right back. Okay, wow, we're back now as we should have been the first time. I'm sorry, our engineer's not here, so we were running things from the seat of our pants, and basically we just took off. Didn't know we weren't even live, but we know that we're live now. Excuse that background noise. It's something to do with our computer who's acting crazy, and I don't know why it's acting crazy like that. But hopefully you guys hear us out there. This is Taking the Journey Together. I'm R, Craig, and of course you have my beautiful wife next door to us, Sharon. Oh, I spoke your name
You
again.
did it again.
Oh, wow. Go ahead and say something.
That just means I have to say that I am
Oh, look at that.
Zare.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Wow. Wow. You want to tell a little bit more about our show, Taking the Journey, and getting everybody prepared for it. It would be nice, would you?
Yes, absolutely. We are taking the journey together.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a point where I say our motto or our driving ideology, and that is we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what our mother, father, sister, brother, or anybody says. It doesn't even matter what Jesus says. We
Really?
are going to relate. But at taking the journey together, our motto or I easy for me to say.
Ooh, e, I, o, e, I, o, o, o.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Go
our,
ahead.
our ideology is relating in a balanced way.
Mm-hmm.
And by balanced, we mean taking that person that we meet, that we have a connection with,
Mm-hmm.
building a friendship with that person,
Okay.
and then going from the friendship and building on that into a lovership. And from there, we have that stronger relationship
Mm-hmm.
with that person who is our friend and our lover,
What is
and we don't have to choose one or the other.
exactly. No other but one lover and friend.
Yes, and
uh,
I wish we knew what that was
yeah,
too,
I don't either
because
know
it can
what it
get
is.
annoying,
It is annoying. I just don't know what is making that noise
and it
whatsoever.
hasn't been doing that.
I know. We just decided to do it now while we're on it. I don't know what the reason why. So anyway, what is going to be our topic today? Can you tell me?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but before we do that,
What?
I have a question for you.
Your question for you, even after I put that up, didn't they?
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
Go ahead.
Our topic today is relationship cheerleader versus inspirational coach.
Okay, relationship cheerleader versus inspirational coach. Hey, so we want you to go and share alike. Something has come up as an emergency that an engineer had to go and take care of in Port Wentworth too. So anyway, we're going to move on as best that we can. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed other shows. And this one you're going to learn a lot about when it comes to a thriving relationship, in this case, a healthy relationship, because that's what we talk about. We are relationship coaches. So we're not psychologists or we're not counselor. We're basically relationship coaches. And we're talking about the kind of things, techniques, policies, laws, or things that we basically have experienced that will help you in building your relationship from where you're at so that it can expand and get even better in your journey that you're taking together with somebody. So whether you're married or what's the other ones?
Cohabiting,
Oh yes, and you're basically spending some time with someone, hopefully in a long-term way. What's that?
or if you are committed singles,
Yes, exactly.
because there are times that you both choose to stay single, but still you're in a committed relationship with one another.
Exactly. So make sure you take your time out while we are trying to get some things together and basically share and let people know all about it. We're kind of moving a little slow here,
Yes.
but that's all right. That's all right.
Yes, but you're doing a great job.
Why don't you?
I have a question for you.
Okay, what's the question? What's the question?
The question is, are
Are
you
yeah?
hot?
Am I hot?
Yes.
I could be.
But are you
Mm,
hot in
no, I
your
don't feel that
relationship?
hot. I mean, a little shine on my head right there, but
You don't
no,
feel hot?
I don't. I don't.
No.
No, I'm not coughing or anything. I don't have any COVID. I don't think.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. Hey, everybody who is watching and sharing, get your questions together on what you think. In this case, the difference is between a relationship cheerleader and an inspirational coach. You're going to find out more about that, and when it comes to versus what is that and what are you actually doing in your relationship in these two areas. It's going to probably be more than part one. So anyway,
Definitely.
so what's hot? Come on, tell me what is hot.
I have my hot button on.
I don't. I have a Black History Month shirt on because it is Black History Month. And
Yes.
so I didn't put that on. So I guess I'm not hot.
But you know what? You can be hot in Black History Month too.
I can.
Yes, you can.
Okay. How's that?
Because I have a hot button for you.
Oh, I do. Oh,
Yes.
wow. So why don't you tell us and put up the screen? What is that hot button all about? Push it
Okay.
close. It's down, up, up. Yeah,
There
there
we
you
go.
go.
Hot is honest, open, and transparent. That's what you should be in your relationship.
Yes.
Honest, open, and transparent. It is one of the foundational tenets of taking the journey together.
Exactly. As you can see here, hot is a basis for a friendly relationship or a relationship that has friends as its basis. And there ain't no guarantees whatsoever that you can make in people getting married or staying married. It's just impossible. You don't know who they are in detail. They don't know who you are in detail. And, no matter how well you feel your relationship is going or
Or how
someone else's
perfect you
relationship,
think
your
you are.
relationship is, you can really never predict someone else's relationship.
Yes.
But one thing is for sure, if you put together a good ingredients in your soup, in your dish, most likely at the end it's going to go out, it's going to taste good, at least
Yes.
taste good to you or both of you two in the relationship. So we're talking about those good ingredients, those good elements that are going to help you out in your relationship. And today we are going to talk about two main ingredients that will help you out in your relationship, which is a difference between a relationship cheerleader versus an inspirational coach. Hey, both of these, how can I say it? Positions or roles, probably better words you can say, are going to be something you're going to want to take some information with you because you definitely want to apply them in your thriving or healthy relationship.
Yes.
We know that when it's moving for a thriving relationship that has friendship at its basis and you're treating each other equal, we are moving into that area that's more spiritual. Like we talked about, self-love is a spiritual kind of concept or belief system have you had, because we don't live in a world of fairness. We don't live in a world of equality. We got wars going on like in Russia. We got political battles going on right now in this very country. We got
Neighbors
race
battling
things
with each
going on.
other.
So the idea of fair and equity we're fighting for, but many of us don't even live by it. And of course, we have some of us that tell our kids, well, it just ain't gonna happen in this lifetime anyway. So you do the best that you can. Well, in your relationship, if you're moving into that fairness, if you're moving into that area where you're trying to find that healthy balance, you are moving more in a spiritual kind of area. You're involving your relationship, your mind, you're evolving to your belief system where the man doesn't lead, the woman doesn't lead, but you both lead, in your relationship together, and you're using what I call interconnectivity. That's what we're talking about. Not dependence, not independence. We're talking about interdependence. That both of you are working together, where you can do more together than what you could do by yourself. And that's what taking the journey together is all about. Those kinds of pushing principles. So today we're going to look at relationship cheerleading and inspirational coach. This noise has calmed down just a little bit. We're waiting for some more people to come on. Hopefully, again, share with your friends, share with your neighbors, share with your enemies if you have to. But please do that. We're usually on, of course, every Thursday, as you can see, every Thursday at 6 p.m. We'll try to be here mostly live. Hey, you also can get a hold of us where, Sharon? You can see
at WRUU on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10, where we're also talking about relationships, thriving relationships, and taking the journey together.
Yeah, we've been on that radio station for almost 2 years, come to think of it.
Yeah, we're in our third year.
Oh, it's our third year there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, we started in 2019.
Exactly. So you'll be able to also go to Facebook and see our Taking the Journey past shows that we did, or our past events that we did. You can also too push that up, or the online Taking the Journey WRUU, which you just spoke of. We have archives of quite a few elements, from courage to trust to good listener, friendship. I mean, there are many more elements that we talk about, and all these elements help to expand and grow your relationship. So if you're in a surviving relationship, some of the stuff we're talking about is really not going to help you out. That'll be something that you need to go to a counselor. You need to go to a psychologist. We're talking about, of course, relationship counselors and psychologists, a therapist, which we're going to pretty soon have on our show or refer you to. But if you're in a relationship where you know you're doing quite well, or at least well enough for you to in turn not fight like cats and dogs, or dogs and cats, or maybe cats and squirrels, but you know that you want to have that relationship to expand and do better and move in that inspirational spiritual side, as I said, where it has more of a balance, then you're going to want to continue to listen to Taking the Journey together. Okay.
And listen to it together.
Yeah, definitely listen together. Before we move into this, what was the last thing you and I were doing together? How about something today we're doing together that was very inspirational? What was that?
Today we did the Black History Month celebration program, where at the school where I work, and this is our 4th year doing it.
Yes,
we started in 2019, and so we've done it for four. Why can't I talk today?
I don't know.
For 4 years, and it doesn't seem like it was that long, but today was amazing.
How was it amazing?
It was amazing because of the way the program went. It started with drumming. And I don't want to say their names because I get it wrong every time. And we were joking about it, but I'm serious. I really want to say it right. It's like Noon Fale. But I think I might be wrong still.
Okay.
And they were drumming, and they got the crowd going. And then we had Daryl Anderson, who came on, and he just came up, and we didn't have anybody to sing the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And so I asked him if he knew how to play it. That was an experience in itself. It was. Because not only did he play it, but the drummers were backing him up.
Exactly. Exactly.
I had never seen anything like that before.
Well, I think what was very beautiful about it is that we had the school with a lot of young people who showed up in the cafeteria, and it was in the gym. Yeah. And it was 4. It was the largest amount that we see for the last 3 or 4, maybe 5 years that we've been, doing and seeing the school participate as as the school did at Bryan. Was it Bryan what?
Richmond Hill.
Richmond Hill. I'm saying Bryan County.
Yeah, Richmond Hill High School.
Which is in Bryan County. How they were just so well receiving and so open to hear about the program that was done, and all the kids enjoyed it, and everybody after the program said, "Oh, thank you, we really enjoyed that." Well, we got to keep on moving on. We're trying to get some more people to chime in. Make sure that you share alike, share it to your friends, share it to your enemies.
But I do want to say
What's that?
about that
What's that?
that's one of those things when you know that you
Hmm.
have a friend,
Yes.
because you came through for me in a pinch.
How was that? Oops.
Well, when I said, at the last minute, I
Hmm.
asked you for two things at the last minute,
Okay. What was that?
and you came through on both of them. I asked you to bring a tripod,
Mm-hmm.
and you brought a tripod,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked you if you would take still pictures,
Okay.
and you did that too, and that was wonderful, and I really appreciate
I,
that.
I
That's a friend right there.
I think we can say, moving into that, that is just another way of someone in your relationship who's taking on the position, because we're going to take on the first position that we're talking about, a
Hmm.
role to be exact, being a cheerleader.
Yes.
Being a cheerleader,
Hmm.
a relationship cheerleader. You needed an item to help out in your program that would bring everybody there, have a chance to see it. They will feel good about that.
Yes.
And, I didn't stand up and do a physical cheer, if you may want to say, hands waved and all that other stuff you see cheerleaders do. But there was an action that I did that added to your program that definitely was something that you needed, because the presentation
Yeah.
that you did, and it was an act of support for you, as a cheerleader should do. So
Yes.
we're going to start talking about that cheerleader part of our relationship, and you want to start with some of the short definition of a cheerleader when it comes to a thriving relationship, a healthy
Yes.
relationship. What
Yes.
a
A cheerleader is fun,
mm-hmm.
playful, silly yet serious about their goals, and plan and love to urge others on to achieve their goals. And that's some of the things that you did today. You did a lot of those things today.
Yes.
Um, you were playful in a way that, it's sometimes it's just the way that you smile
Mm-hmm.
at me as um,
Some people
things.
don't say I smile enough, by the way.
Well, they have to be in the right place at the right time.
Hey, I do
Eh,
remember many times that a lot of people only saw pictures of Malcolm X and he didn't have much smiles.
Yeah.
But people who said they have known him personally said, if you only would see him smile and
Mhm.
see him laugh, which is one of their, remember the great poems that were read about the Prince, our Prince, that was read by Ruby. Who was it? Not Ruby D, but
Um,
the husband of Ruby D, who read
Ozzie
Ozzie
Davis.
Davis, who read that
Ozzie
poem.
Davis. Yes.
Yes, from that end. And so the folks who knew him personally knew he had a very beautiful smile, a very um, just joyfulness about himself,
Hmm.
about life. And I
Yes.
figure, as much as he knew and how bad as he knew things, he had to have a side of him to keep him sane
Oh gosh, he had to.
from that
Yes.
particular. And so, yeah,
Yes.
my smile that not too many people see, and of course you get to see, is that cheerleader side that I know it uplifts you. I know it makes you
Hmm.
feel good, and it keeps me sane.
Me too. But the thing of it is,
Hmm.
you did that, and
Uh,
sometimes that smile, just your presence, knowing you're there,
hmm.
helps a lot too. It was really nice that if when I was saying something, not feeling comfortable in front of the mic anyway,
Hmm.
it was good to know that I could just look over and feel that comfort, feel that like I'm not alone.
Hmm.
And so that's that part where you're serious about your goals and
Hmm.
plans, and your goal was to support me today,
Yes.
and you were serious in that. You connected with the administrators, you connected
Hmm.
with the students, connected with everybody that was necessary as a role in supporting me. So that was truly a cheerleader.
Hey, brothers out there that in turn feel that we are having a hard time supporting, uplifting the women in their life, and feeling that we should always run the show and that the limelight should always be on us, or maybe think that's what I think be on myself. That's just not true whatsoever. Period. In a thriving relationship is not operating that way. in the first place. This was her role. She was the one that was on the stage in this case, kind of like Mama's always on stage. Well, in this case, Mama was on stage. It was her show that she put together with those beautiful kids at school. And I was honored to come in and support. It was a very good atmosphere, and I was glad to come in and cheerlead her and have her feel good. And it was just amazing how the rest of the school really had a lot of respect and had a lot of love for you as they were passing through the halls after the show was over. But even while there, I could feel that energy. Every time you came up and talked, everyone was riveted to your conversation and what you were speaking. So I was proud of being there, being your husband, and proud being there, being your partner, proud of being there, being your lover, proud of being, in this case, your cheerleader. So
Yay!
fun, playful, silly, yet serious about your goals, and love to urge in this case your
Mm-hmm.
mate, and achieve their goals and your goals as well.
Yeah.
Because it was my goal while being there to make sure what she did would be successful. If what she was doing was successful, then it looked successful for us as a relationship, and also looked successful for what we were trying to do, what we felt for our ancestors, which is to present our history in a very respectful and a loving way. And that's what this was all about. And that's that us principle, that principle that's based on the African kind of saying called Mbutu. I am who I am because of who you are.
Yeah.
And so that's very, very important that we try to present that. And that's what we try to do through our taking the journey together. We got someone's got a thumbs up there too. Hopefully, if you feel that way, put your thumbs up. Got any questions or anything you want to talk about, or maybe there's a testimony you want to say, so put it in the comments. We'll be glad to talk a little bit about it or present it on the screen. So let's move on a little bit, because I know a lot of times in a relationship, people are so serious about things, and some one of our personal relationship is a little bit more silly, a little more playful, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one's more serious, and they might think because that person is more playful and the other one's more serious that something's wrong with them in
Yes.
that relationship,
Yeah.
because you need to be serious all the time, or you need to look like a mule sucking on
Yes. Like,
a onion, or
I can't
historic.
even do it right.
Well, sometimes now, come on, sister girl. I know sometimes you come home, you do look historic as
Yes,
can be for
because
that end.
the emotions
Mm-hmm.
and the psychic energy and
Mm-hmm.
the troubles of those children, they weigh on me.
Yes.
And so sometimes you're right, I come home and it's like the first thing I want to say is leave me alone, but I know that's not the thing, because sometimes when I come home and I'm like that,
Mm-hmm.
you need the cheerleader,
Yes,
you know.
yes, yes, yeah. So yeah, that's right, Mels. We can, brothers out there and men out there, and somebody called me today, Bubba. I don't know what that southern thing is, Bubba is all about, but we can support our partners, our female partners, or our girl, or woman, or whatever you feel comfortable in saying, our boo, or honey, or fancy. We can support. I think it's important for us to do
Yeah.
that, and it don't take no skin off your nose to do it. It don't make you less of a man to be able to do it and support her. And many times you get some good out of it too if you try.
Yes,
So,
I'm taking him on a date tomorrow
oh
night.
wow, that's going to be real
Mhm.
nice. And she's not
Yes.
taking me to McDonald's, folks.
No.
You see, with all this
Mm-mm.
stuff right here, I don't do no McDonald's no
No.
more
No.
from that particular end. So let's move on. What are some of the elements that are involved in cheerleaders? What are some of the statements that we use when it comes to when you're cheerleading? When you're that cheerleader in your relationship?
I are we statements. And
Which one?
we.
We statements?
We.
You mean if we're doing that thing,
We.
we don't use that I statement as a
We.
cheerleader?
No.
I'm not doing this for you.
We
I keep
had
on doing this for
no.
you.
We had a lot of
I took
success
you to
today.
lunch.
Okay.
I
I'm
bought
taking
you
you to
those
dinner.
clothes that you have
Yeah.
now.
I'm taking you to dinner tomorrow night,
Okay.
but we're gonna have a good time.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay. So we's
And,
going
and
out.
we're gonna celebrate
Okay.
today.
Wheezy.
Tomorrow.
Wheezy.
Oh
We's
no, no,
going
no,
out.
no, no, no,
No, okay.
no.
But yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
But uh being our spouse's number one cheerleader
Mm-hmm.
entails us learning to speak gently when we disapprove of something our
Yes.
spouse has done or failed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you know, if you had okay, case in point,
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the easel that you brought
Yes.
and I'm like, you brought the rat in my mind. I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
you brought the rattiest, most flimsy
Mm-hmm.
one that we have.
I didn't know that. Is that what
I
you said to your mom? I'm glad you didn't say that out
I
loud.
know I would. Oh, no, 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 no. I was too grateful to have something.
Okay.
And so when I set it up, I was like, I hope this painting is not too heavy to hold on to it. And I was hoping it wouldn't fall down. But that was the worst one. But the thing of it is,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it and even
So
if
why
it
she even brought it up then?
because
I
this
mean,
is
why she even bring it up?
because this is the point
What's that? Okay, you
that
move
I'm
on.
making here. The point
Okay.
that I'm making here is
Mm-hmm.
saying something nice
Mm-hmm.
when you do disapprove of something.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, I didn't say anything then. I
Mm-hmm.
was in my mind. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're gonna see how this works because
Mm-hmm.
it has worked before.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it looks bad does not mean that it is bad,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it worked just fine. It held up and then held up some more.
It definitely did,
And
especially with
so,
that picture that we
yeah,
did have. That young man presented a heck of a picture, didn't he?
didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, wow. It was gigantic, and we met his whole family. So, and I never knew that. And I think the point that she's also making too is in a thriving relationship or a balanced relationship, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. You know, such thing as perfect anyway. Sometimes you're going to have thoughts on your mind that are negative.
Mm-hmm.
People will say negative, that are depressing, that are not necessarily the best thing. And man,
That's not uplifting.
you might have thoughts on your mind. Sometimes you might, I like to break her neck, or
Or
she might say, I might like to hit him with the board. I mean,
where's
those
that frying pan?
exactly. So
Yeah.
those kind of things happen, but we also know if you're operating as a cheerleader, especially when you're in that pressure situation or they're trying to shine and you want to help them shine, you're not going to say that.
No.
You want to keep it to yourself,
Yeah.
you know? And especially at the end, you ain't going to be able to predict exactly what's going to happen anyway. And you
Exactly.
want the best to happen in the first
Yes.
place. So why would you like to see people say, why would you curse it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I knew that the ancestors were there and taking
Mm-hmm.
care of everything today. But yeah, that that popped through my mind, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh no, I can't do this. I
Yeah.
can't do this. This is going to be good. And I unfolded the thing, popped it up, and it did what it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I could have very easily looked at it and said to you, "Why'd you bring this one? We have some that's in a package that would have looked a whole lot better." And blah
Mm-hmm.
blah 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 blah. The bottom line is, nobody was paying attention to it, and you brought what I asked you to.
Mm-hmm.
You came through. That's all that needs to be celebrated.
Exactly, exactly. Now, you and I do a lot of events. We do an event on River Street this year, folks. We're going to be doing it again. We got a new team, a
Starting
young
in
team,
April.
starting in April. By the way, every third weekend of the month. You can always go to www.unityinthecommunity.org. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
www.unityinthecommunity.org, and you get a chance to get some vendor space if you want to down on River Street. But we don't start until April. We got a whole new team who's actually handling that right now, who is going to be out there and be our vendor manager on site at the time.
Yes.
So we'd have to go out there. But on that particular note, because we do a lot of large particular venues all the time, right?
Right.
The fact that there are so many behind the scene problems that happen when you do large venues. Those out who haven't did very large venues, you don't really know what I'm talking about. But if you do a lot of event organization and planning, there's a lot of behind the scene problems that you run into because you're
Yes.
dealing with people, and they can change, they can be fickle, they can do so many things. I don't care if they're in business or not in business. And if you're handling entertainers, wow, it really is escalated even higher than that, getting them together. But the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is many of that problems that you're having of organizing and putting those things together, you don't say anything.
No.
You keep it to
No.
yourself. You try to put on your best face that you can,
While
or
you're
your game
putting
face
while
that you
you're
can.
putting band-aids on the broken pipe that's shooting water everywhere. Oh no, I got this. It's good. It's good.
Exactly. And when you are able to be able to do that
Mhm.
on the front end, it looks like it was done smoothly.
Yes.
Done smooth, and they don't know it's held together by tape, pieces of glue, and bubble gum.
Spitting bubble gum.
Exactly. And sometimes in the relationships, that's what we're talking, keeping it for real, in your relationship, especially we're talking about a healthy relationship, in balanced relationships, sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to be that cheerleader, and you have to be silly and playful, but
Yes.
serious means sometimes you keep that thing to yourself.
Exactly.
That is detriment, that is negative, that's going to pull the whole thing down, and you keep it to yourself.
Change the tempo and
exactly.
the temperament completely.
Exactly. Definitely. Now, there's going to be a time that you should and would be open to talk to your partner and your companion about, man, like she just did a few minutes ago. I just found out, by the way, folks, you could tell
But
that.
it's all good now.
Yeah, yeah, I know that.
So
I'll fight with you later after the show. But I mean, many times you don't know that,
mhm.
but you do have a chance, especially if it's something that's very, very important,
Yes.
or you don't want to see have that problem happen again because you want to learn from it using the
Mhm.
Sankofa principle.
Yes.
Then you bring it up after. It's called that review and rebriefing time.
Yeah.
After
Debrief.
debriefing. In our
Uh-huh.
relationships, many times we need to have a debriefing time.
Yes.
We need to have a time that we spend together where we talk to each other about our problems and our concerns. We should try to do it daily, hopefully, before we go to bed. If not, you definitely want to make it in before their week is up and you start it
Yes.
all over again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. And so that's a one of those things of knowing how to say something and when to say something.
Uh-huh.
And you also have to evaluate, is it worth it?
Yeah, that's true.
Is it worth it? I mean, um, everything that was cooked for dinner was great
Mm-hmm.
except the peas. The
I don't like
peas,
peas anyway.
I don't either. The peas had a little too much juice in them.
Uh-huh.
Well, strain it. You know, just move it out of the way, pour the juice off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really that big of a deal? You know, there could be other things that are really worth. Hey, I got to talk to you about this. We are not we're not doing what we need to do, and that's where we use that we statement.
Exactly.
Rather than pointing fingers.
So being our spouses or a partner, the number one cheerleader entails us learning to speak gently when we are what? Disapprove of something our spouse has done or felt gently or to do is very, very important. Notice in that we statement, we try to speak to them gently, as she did a few minutes ago as an example, to show you in front of, usually when I'm in front of the camera, she's slapping me around saying stuff like, but no, not really. So again, it wasn't that you
No.
couldn't speak up. And of course, timing's always important.
Mhm.
But if there is a time, as we talk about, when we want to go over and review what happened that made us feel uncomfortable, we try to speak gently. So this is not
It's
about,
all about
you don't
how you
speak
do it.
up, you keep it to yourself, you just swallow, especially if it's something important that you're both trying to do and accomplish. You do, but you try to be gentle, you try to be respectful, because you look at each other in a spiritual kind of way that says, hey, we look at our relationship as being sacred. Being sacred, then we're going to try to treat each other in that kind of special and
Yeah.
sacred way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And that's one of those things that we definitely have to take a look at and be vigilant in. Make it a point to say, this is what I'm doing. This is one of those things that I'm not so great at, is saying, how am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I am not really good at evaluating myself, or even asking for an outside opinion. And when I say an outside opinion, I mean asking my partner, how am I doing? I'm not very good at that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I think, oh, I'm perfect and everything is just great and there's not going to be a problem with me. No, it's not that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's that I just keep moving. And it's probably that in the back of my mind, I don't want to hear the truth if it's not going to be favorable.
Yes, yeah,
And
but
that's that little thing that
afraid
nags
of,
at
it's
you in the back.
afraid of rejection.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's some people who are very good in selling cars, selling houses, selling real estate, so
Mhm.
on and so forth. But yet, because they're not afraid of rejection, but in a relationship, they're afraid it's going to be a rejection.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just don't want to be rejected, and won't say what they feel
Mhm.
or what they don't feel
Mhm.
because they're afraid they're going to be rejected,
Yeah.
and they just kind of keep it to themselves.
Or the idea that, if I'm not doing so well, then I'm letting you down. And that's, one of those things that would be bothersome if I'm letting you down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
we got a comment here. Let's see what the comment says real quickly. Interesting. We have someone by the name of
Ernisa.
but yes, tell us what are one of the things that you feel is interesting in what we're talking about. We love to hear your statement. So please go ahead and speak
Tell
up.
us more. Tell us
Tell us
more.
more. As we're telling and letting you know, as we're actually
Yeah.
speaking and giving you suggestions. Again, as a relationship counselors, no, I mean, relationship coaches, excuse me. We're not counselors. We're not
No.
psychologists. We're not any of that. We'll try to refer you to that if you have something more serious going on in your relationship. This is more for relationships that in turn are doing well together and they just want to look at a direction where they want it to kind of grow and expand and therefore fine tune it. And that's what their plan is. So we're trying to give you coaching ideas to help you move that direction so that you can
Upgrade.
upgrade or expand on it. So here's something I just thought that we wrote and put together when we did this study was sometimes when you say, we're talking about the we statements, sometimes when you say, why do you keep doing that? What your spouse or partner hears is you are a lousy decision maker. That's right.
Yes.
Sometimes when you say, why do you keep doing that? Your partner hears you are a lousy decision maker.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of those things that and sometimes that's a trigger coming from someplace in the past,
Mm-hmm.
that you've been told that you didn't make the right choice, you didn't make the
Mm-hmm.
right decision. And so it just connects with that. But it's one of those things that you have to be clear and precise with what you say and how you say it. And that being instead of saying, why do you keep doing that? um you might say something like, does it seem like we're moving forward when you keep doing that?
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
know um or are we moving in the right direction, or
Mm-hmm.
something like
Mm-hmm.
that? Find
Or you could
another
be just as direct as, why do we seem to keep on doing
Yes,
this?
yes.
I mean, it could be just that simple. Why do we?
Exactly.
And see, the we statement means you both take on the
Mhm.
responsibility because you're
Yes.
in a relationship.
Yes.
You're not there by yourself. When you do I, then you're basically doing that. Hey, this relationship is about you, good or bad, usually bad.
Yeah.
It's about you, and I ain't got no responsibility to it whatsoever.
I'm doing okay. I
Exactly.
don't know what your problem is.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the we statement in a thriving or balanced relationship, or we call a spiritual relationship, is that we look at this relationship as we. And so the
Mhm.
statement more, especially if you're trying to be a good cheerleader, is we. We
Yes.
are in this situation. We need to do something about it.
Mhm.
And so that kind of statement then doesn't make the other person feel like, oh, I'm a lousy person in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm all about always taking the blame all the time, using
Mhm.
that blame game.
Yes, yes, because when you do that, you're actually pointing fingers, and when you're pointing fingers, that's always saying, you know what, I'm just a little bit superior.
Yeah. And I have been guilty of doing that. I know that there's been times when, like on River Street, there's sometimes something that you forgot, which has happened more than once. And I'll go, Sharon, why did you forget that? Why did you forget that? And why did you
You
not
do it
bring
all
that?
the time.
Exactly. And then you notice how Murphy's Law, the very next
called
couple of
karma.
minutes,
It's
karma,
called karma.
there is something that is needed, and guess who forgot it?
You.
I forget it.
Yes.
I have forgotten.
I
And
have
so,
gone back home to get something that you forgot.
exactly. And so the actual principle of we then comes
Mhm.
into
Yes,
reality.
yes.
It's a we thing, and this
Uh-huh.
has happened more than once
And
in that way.
but
Yeah.
you solve that by saying,
Mm-hmm.
I came home one day and you
Mm-hmm.
said, when you sit down, I want you to look at
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was. I put together something so we don't forget things anymore.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and that was acknowledging that I was not the only forgetful one,
Mm-hmm.
which made it a whole lot easier for me to sit down and look at the spreadsheet that you put
We
together.
shared our age of getting into Alzheimer's, and we were just forgetting things together. From the, and then when we get older and we sit in our Cialis bathtubs together, we can hold our hands and then say, whose hand is that?
What's a hand?
Okay, wow, that's pretty serious, really serious. That is real serious. That end. Okay, back to the cheerleading. How about this another one? Can you please help? And your spouse or your partner actually hears, are you not helping at all? Do you notice these statements when you say
Yes.
you? It makes the other person feels like they're doing nothing.
Nothing.
They're on the most extreme end,
Mhm.
and you basically do everything
Right.
and they do
Right.
nothing. So it's one ditch to the other ditch, good or
Mhm.
bad. You know what I'm saying? All the time,
Exactly.
making someone demonized or bad in a relationship, and you're the angel.
Mhm.
And
I'm
that's not being a good cheerleader.
perfect.
Exactly. And
Yes.
so we have to be careful with that because you don't want them to think that way, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. How about one more, and then we'll move from there because our time is moving on.
Okay. Here's another one. Can you think about me and the children when you do that?
What
Ooh.
does that happens?
Then what your spouse hears is you are being extremely selfish.
Mm,
How many? Okay, I got to
okay.
say this.
You're gonna be on your soapbox off.
I am. I'm gonna say, women,
Mm-hmm.
check yourself, because have you done that? Said those exact words. Can you think about us for a change? Can you think about me and the children sometime?
And they ain't my children. No, I'm just joking. That's that other man's child.
and
He's your baby daddy.
but still, we have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it alienates, because it's saying that says a lot. It says you're a bad husband. It
Mm-hmm.
says you're a bad father. You're selfish. And that's not necessarily the case, because it could have been just that one time
Mm-hmm.
that you were in a bad mood and he decided to do something that builds him up or makes him feel good. Maybe he went golfing. I don't know anything about golf, but I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people do. And he was gone 15 minutes longer than your nerves could hold out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go in. Can you just think about us for a change? Well, can you think about him for a change? Just saying.
In the kind of customary usual relationships that are on the extreme and not the thriving relationships, many a times the practice is I do my own thing, she does her own thing, and then somehow we get along. So the principle of we really doesn't even
Right.
exist in this. And sometimes it's so imbalanced, called codependent, where she does her thing, I do her thing. That's how we get along. And who knows what the heck I would do anyway from that end. And still, it's a codependent kind of relationship. It's not an equal, it's not a balance, it's not a relationship that's involved to the level where you're using that spiritual kind of principles where you both are equal and using your talents and your abilities to move forward with projects, moving forward with things that you put together, and trying to change the world and speak your truth to power to yourself and to any and everybody else in a very balanced spiritual kind of way, if you may want to say. No, I am going to say, because that's what it really is from then. So that's why the cheerleader side, we find that a lot of relationships don't necessarily have. You hear a lot of men who would say, I wish I had a woman who was my cheerleader. I was going to play that one song that I saw a young guy made called My Cheerleader.
Hmm.
I was going to play
Yeah.
it and have a chance to listen to the lyrics, but and he was talking about that. And I mean, there's many guys that I knew grew up in sports and stuff, and they dated cheerleaders. I mean, one time in my life, I dated a cheerleader. I didn't want to date her; she wanted to date me, and I was no big football star or anything like that. And all the guys were jealous of because of the fact she wanted to date me. I didn't date her long because her cheerleadiness was fine, but she was snobbish and spoiled as can be, and that didn't work out too well. But what I'm just trying to say is that cheerleading side is so important as we're talking
Hmm.
about it in a relationship, because it also helps to encourage and uplift and present a side that a person in a relationship, especially a person in a relationship who's been used to, being with Debbie Downers and being with
Yeah.
I won't say the other word, but basically he doesn't do much for you, always talking something negative and vice versa. So you always feel like you got to build your own self
Yeah.
up. She always feels you're going to build yourself up, and you two just don't feel good, or you don't feel good when you're trying to do projects, or you got to dream on your own, and they do nothing really encourage you,
Hmm.
make you feel good about
Yes.
it, always telling you and talk about how bad it is or why you're doing this in the first place, and on and on and on and on, and you're like, wow, why do I even listen to this person?
Yes.
And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you trying to either making sure your relationship moves that way, or you get into a relationship where you have someone who is, in this case, we're talking about that relationship cheerleader. Are you that relationship cheerleader? Can you be a relationship cheerleader? I think that you very much can. And it takes practice to speak more from a we perspective. It
It
really does.
does. It
To
does.
let your spouse know that you want the both of you to be a team. Again,
Hmm.
both of you to want to be a team, to take full responsibility for your actions and assure your spouse or your partner that you are not looking to correct him or her, but to prove that and not to prove that you are right about things, but that you generally want to work together because you care about him or her and your family and what you're trying to do in the big picture. And I
Yes.
think that's one of the most important that we have to think about it when it comes to a cheerleader. Are we really about trying to assure our partner, a friend, a lover that, hey, this is about both of us.
Yes.
We are trying to work this together and make this happen. And is that too much? You think that's just a little too much to ask?
I don't think it's too much to ask. And the reason I don't think it's too much to ask is because that's what each one of us want as an individual. And if we want it as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
what's that saying? Practice what you preach.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to feel like you're connected to that one person, then you need to make that person feel that they're connected to you. So
Yes.
that becomes a we. And it's difficult because we grow up in an I society. When we're children, it's mom, dad,
Mm-hmm.
I want this.
Yes.
Get me that. Can I have this, that, or the other?
Mm-hmm.
And half the time you don't look out for your
Hey, that's the
siblings.
glamorous life.
It
She
is.
wants to live a glamorous life without love. There ain't much. There
Okay.
ain't much. Who
And
did
on
that?
um I can't remember, but on WRUU you get a lot of that.
I just remember
He
that
will
song.
You'll say something, it'll trigger a song in his head and he is
But
gone with it. But that's cheerleading.
a lot of us, we're with that bling bling kind of thought process. That the outside is more
Was that
important.
Madonna?
I don't remember
I
who
don't
it was.
either.
How good I look, how well I can pizzazz someone, how charismatic I am, and yet inside you don't have no real feeling for yourself well, let alone your partner whatsoever, and you're really not trying to work together in a team manner. But most of all, you're not doing much cheerleading for one another
Right.
whatsoever at all. There
Right.
might be only one person doing it, the other one's like, yeah, right. Or we're in front of a camera or we're in front of an audience, then man, I'm gonna show off and I'm really gonna be there to make it look like, but
Or
I really ain't feeling this at all. I
or
mean,
in
really.
in front of your family,
Yeah, well, yeah, family
trying.
does happen all the time, don't
But yeah, a lot of people, they get
it?
in front of their families
Mm-hmm.
and they want to show that everything is wonderful and
Mm-hmm.
everything is perfect. And
Well,
so,
your family's big. My family, I don't hang around much anymore. But yeah,
but
okay.
but but I'm talking families in general. I've
Mm-hmm.
I've I've seen that happen a lot, and I've seen that experience. And it's oh, we just love each other and everything is
Mm-hmm.
wonderful and great and fantastic and dandy. And as soon as you leave them, it's like, okay, my car's parked around the corner, drive me around the corner. I get in my car, you go where you go, and I'm going home.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow. That's pretty serious.
it is, it
That is
is.
pretty serious. Wow.
And I, I kid you not,
What's
I
that?
worked with a lady who she and her husband were separated for 6 years
Mm-hmm.
before his family found out.
Really?
Yeah.
That is some serious stuff.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's a one of those classification we call a survival relationship where they're just surviving, but no
they
one
weren't
really
even
knows about it.
surviving. They had already started living separate lives.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's on that scale because there are many relationships who are on that scale, and
Mhm.
some of them are in the same house.
Yeah.
And it's not even connected whatsoever. I
Exactly.
mean, one's in another room, another one's another room. I knew someone that had two different bedrooms,
Mhm.
and that they both slept in differently in the same
Yeah.
house, and they've been operating it for that long way. In fact, someone was telling me not too long. I was talking to them when they were talking to us about relationships because they know that we try to counsel people as for a relationship coach, and they were just talking about how I every day I'm in the house with my partner or my wife, and she don't say nothing to me. I mean,
Yeah.
we walk around in the home and we don't talk to each other. We barely look at each other. We go in the kitchen, open up the refrigerator, and get stuff. And we, I mean, may say, "Excuse me, when I got to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom." But he said, "I mean, this goes on for days. We've been doing this for weeks and months." I'm going, "Are you joking?" He said, "Man, yeah,
Wow.
that's just how that is." I'm like, "Wow."
Even roommates have more
I
interaction
was
than
going to say
that.
I couldn't deal with that.
I couldn't
I
either.
couldn't do. I mean, you might as well say, "Let me go find another woman," and at least I get a conversation with her and more
Forget
instead of coming home and playing.
forget another woman. Go find another place to live.
I, I,
I'm like,
but leave
that's
it
crazy.
living on that kind of edge, which many times in survivor relationship is what they would say. Some young folks say it is what it is. And they in turn just follow through on it and say they ain't gonna change. Nothing I can do about it. At least the person still comes home, and brings the bacon, the money home. Then we can say that in front of folks, and that's just how it is. Yeah.
Wow. That is not a we relationship.
No, 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 and there's no doubt about it. The
Wow.
idea of someone being a cheerleader in that relationship has been long gone. It probably
Yes.
never had that in that
Right,
relationship. They
right.
probably didn't even thought about that. They thought that was some fake stuff, white folk stuff, or two black folk stuff, or whatever. They just thought it was too fake.
Yes.
Ain't nobody got no time for that. They used to say all the time to do something like that in a relationship.
Yes.
From the end, yeah, definitely, definitely. So we got about another 10 minutes. You want to talk about another one of these elements that
Yes.
in the what side are we on again?
We are on the cheerleader
Cheerleader side.
side.
Okay, you want to
Yes.
start this second
Yes.
one that we pretty much looked into?
Do thoughtful little things for each other frequently.
To thoughtful little things.
Yeah.
What little things are we talking about?
Start by simply making the effort to stop doing the very things that annoy your spouse.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
wow, this could be a long one because
Uh-huh.
one thing about relationships that you find out that's for real that many times we play on TV and show scripted reality is you still got to be with them minute after minute,
Yes.
hour after hour, day
Day
after
after
day.
day.
So those little small things, if you're not comfortable with, they're gonna come out.
Yes.
You
Yes.
ever say the devil in the details? They are going to come out. What's an example of a little thing that could really frequently happen over and over again that could just get on your nerves?
If your spouse likes the tube of toothpaste capped after use,
Mm-hmm.
make a mental note to do it.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
the old cap off the
Yeah,
toothpaste.
or the toilet seat
Oh, I knew she's gonna
in
do
the
that.
right position.
I just knew she was going to do that. So, who came first, the toilet seat up or the toilet seat down, like the chicken and the egg?
How about no toilet seat at all when they had outhouses?
I mean, you had to go there. I don't know anything about. I know they
So,
used to use corn cobs. How's that one? That's what they say in newspaper.
ouch.
Yeah, but I mean that's like a
No, I know.
old thing.
But so is the toothpaste too.
Yes.
But the thing of it is,
Hmm.
there are some other things. When you drive my car, put my seat back the way it was.
Yes, that's what I do. Now I don't get on my nerve to enough that I'm going to blow
Yeah.
up between one another, but that's a thing I see. I don't because we got more than one car, so I don't have to worry about it. But sometimes when I do in that car,
Right.
because your legs are so short, the good looking legs are so short, man, my legs are long. Oh my God, it's hard to get in that car.
That was funny, and I did not want to laugh the
Mm-hmm.
other day when I had been driving the car,
Mm-hmm.
and you decided wherever we were going, and it was the little car,
Mm-hmm.
and you decided wherever we were going that you were gonna drive,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like trying to slide in. You
I
got one
know.
leg in, and
I
I'm
know.
like, just put the seat back, just reach down
I was too
and
lazy to reach the seat down. But I mean, those are those small things.
yeah.
And we know that some of the small things can really get out of hand because it can be a mental
Mhm.
note that irks you. I mean,
Yes.
just absolutely irks you deep.
But here's the bad side of that. When you set up those things because you just want to irritate your partner, that is not a thriving set up for a thriving
Yeah.
relationship. But there are a lot of
Yeah.
people that do that.
That tit for tat.
Or not even tit for tat, just
Mm-hmm.
you're getting on my nerves, so I'm going to let you know how much you're getting on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just do something randomly that you oh, let me see, what is something that's really stupid and ridiculous and don't you park your car in the middle of the driveway,
Mm,
knowing that your spouse has to come home and park,
exactly.
and you know that that's gonna, cause an irritation,
Mm-hmm.
but you do it just to, because there are some people that like that kind of chaos and stuff, but they're not looking for a thriving relationship. They're not looking to do the cheerleading thing, because if they were, they'd come in, they'd park the car where they know it would be comfortable for the
Mm-hmm.
spouse to come in and park, and everything would be fine.
Mm,
So we got to get away from that. And I only mention that because a lot of people think, well, if I just do this once in a while,
mm-hmm.
it's no big deal. Yes, it is, because those little things compound.
Yeah,
Those,
right.
those little
Somebody said the little
irritants.
foxes that,
Yeah,
what does it irritate the whole something? I
I
forgot
don't
the whole
know.
vine or something like that.
Yeah.
I also was thinking in my mind that some of those irritations that we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in relationships, people think it's a very cute thing to do. If
Yeah,
I can get at my mate, get on his nerve or her nerve, that I can get their attention because they're not giving me any attention
that's
anyway.
true. That's
So
true.
let me do this cute thing. And some people say let's be nice, nasty,
Yes.
and if I do, then I can get under the skin, and I have some kind of direct control. Or people say
Mm-hmm.
control, I say control is direct control, or influence, where someone's going to really pay attention to you, but in a way that they're not going to feel comfortable with it,
Right.
and you want them not to feel comfortable with it. That kind of tit for tat game that I was referring to before
Mm-hmm.
happens a lot in relationships, and obviously that is no way at all for you to try the method of being cheerleader. And if you are,
No.
you're cheerleading for your side,
Mm,
not the us side.
right.
And it's that power play game that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. That's a lot of times in a relationship where both are power playing with one another
Right.
to see who gets the control or the direct influence in how the relationship is going.
Right.
And of course, when that happens, you'll never really move down the aisle of a real us
Mm-hmm.
or thriving
Right.
relationship. That's one thing for sure. But that happens a lot in the relationships.
Yeah, and we definitely need to get away from that. And one of the things that we can do to get away from that is to make sure that we are hot.
Yes,
Yes,
honest, open, and transparent. No
yes.
doubt about it. That's
And so,
very, very
and
important.
if you're being honest, open, and transparent, you're not going to do those little things just to get under somebody's skin,
No,
because that's counterproductive to what hot stands for in the first place.
physically, it adds to your high blood pressure. Also,
Mm-hmm.
to adds to your stress, especially if you got a stressful life. If you're not doing too much anything, of course, that might be something you want to do. But if you have a stressful life, you're already working, you already take care of kids, you're already dealing with the pressures around
Mm-hmm.
that happen in the world. All this does is add something more to your very psyche, your very soul, your very spirit. You don't want to do that. Taking that route of trying to be they were talking about the cheerleader. I mean, it's a real top service thing to do, but
Yes.
it's important because it is something that gives you the approach to be able to handle the everyday kinds of
Mm-hmm.
things
Yes.
that you will encounter as long as you're
Yeah.
living with this person and connecting with this
Yeah.
person. You might as well do something that's more positive, uplifting,
Mm-hmm.
than to do something that's the other side that is more sometimes easier to do, if you may want to say.
Right.
You'll get something more out of that relationship if you do that cheerleading side. The same way you watch basketball, the same way you watch football, the same way you see sports, and they got cheerleaders out there just to make those basketball and football players to feel good. I remember when we were going through the COVID times, man, they had cheerleaders and people on the stage, and they weren't even real.
Yeah.
And
It's
the
pictures.
exactly, and the basketball players and stuff said they couldn't play well unless they had people out there cheering them. They making millions of
And they
dollars.
made
They're doing
sounds.
professional people. You would
Yes.
think they have enough psyche from inside them
Yeah.
that they didn't need that outside environment to deal with their senses to make them feel good to go up to that highest level. But they
Except
needed that.
except their adrenaline is probably based on their ego.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's
so
true.
without that cheerleader to build to spike that ego, that adrenaline is not going to be happening.
Well, we're getting to
Isn't
the
that
name of the
crazy?
show because I want to say, outside of that, we all have egos.
Yes.
And we're talking about being able to feed and in turn pour into us on our ego side some positive information,
Mm-hmm.
though, and a Native American saying, what particular wolf are you feeding?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
we want to feed the wolf that's the positive ego that's
Mm-hmm.
inside, that when turn is more uplifting, so that we end up loving one another and not necessarily hunting each other like wolves just to kill each other
Yes.
from that end.
Oh,
Okay, so we got up 2 minutes, I think
so
we're left. Why don't we
and
talk?
so
Go ahead.
ending
I'm sorry.
ending on a positive note,
Mm-hmm.
ending on something that is high.
Mm-hmm.
One of the simple things, because we were talking about making an effort to do things
Got
that
another minute, babe.
that don't annoy.
Mm-hmm.
Find that thing that puts a smile on your partner's face
Mm-hmm.
and do that thing like 2 3 times a week.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's easy.
That's easy to do.
Yes.
So you can see Thriving Relationships. Make sure you get us on WRUUU. We'd love to have you there. Also, to Taking the Journey, you see that information there. Make sure that you go and write that down. Give us any questions or anything that is brought up to you. Make sure you pass this information on. Watch all the other shows that are on this very great channel. We are so excited about being here, and at the same time we're very glad to be part of this show. Got a couple of minutes left, or a couple of seconds left. Sharon, you want to say anything? Make sure you see us next Thursday, right?
Next Thursday at 6
At
o'clock.
6 o'clock. If not, hey, be good to yourself, be good to your relations. Take that journey together in what you want to say?
Take that journey together.